Good afternoon and welcome back to another transfer show right here on the Toon Review with myself and Stato. There's lots of rumours going around, lots of links and things like that, but we know that'll never change. It's just the way it is at the minute. But one thing that has come out is a report that has stated that James Maddison may not want to move to Newcastle should he be allowed to move from Leicester. Now, this has come from Ben Jacobs. Make of it what you will. He is obviously a Leicester fan, so he does have access to Leicester City. But whether that's true or not, I don't know. Again, we'll just have to wait and see with it. But are you surprised if that's true, Alex, if he has decided that there's another club out there for
him? Yeah, I'm sure there are other clubs on his mind. He might, in his own head, he's probably thinking about the next step up in his prime, trying to play some European football, improve his sort of international chances in the next couple of tournaments for England as well. So I could see him possibly being interested in different alternatives, but to suggest that he just wouldn't be interested in us is, I think, is naive. Considering I'm not sure exactly what words he's used. So. But even so, I think it's been pretty well documented. He was good friends with the three Newcastle lads in the England training camp and stuff, and at the World Cup, using all the nicknames and lots of cheeky questions in interviews about joining us, and just little things like that. And it seems we've got pretty reasonably good information from elsewhere that he likes the club and he likes the lads, and it's an interesting project. I don't really see it making a difference to anything. His comments, to be fair.
What there is at the moment is there's an eerie silence around Newcastle United at the minute with regards to the transfer window. It is very, very quiet. Now, whether that is a good thing or a bad thing, don't know. We will see by the end of the transfer window. But there's a lot of other clubs seem to be stepping it up a little bit. Certainly Arsenal, etc. We know what Chelsea have been doing. Liverpool signing Gakpo. Are you worried at all that it is a little bit quiet?
Not personally. I think this is to be expected. A lot of people, some people on Twitter having a bit of a meltdown about the lack of signings so far. But it has come out today from several sources that our wage to turnover numbers, which aren't particularly great. Not revenue. Wage to revenue is not particularly good. I think Kev Lawson from WAI Scouts posted it's about 95%. A few other sources saying it's somewhere around 90, and a few people arguing it could be slightly lower than that. But that would explain
when you look at Manchester City's, is something like 57%. I think.
Manchester City's is reported to be 57%. So there's a little link here that I can see on my screen for the 2021-2022 accounts. Manchester City's revenue, £619 million with a 57% wage to revenue, whereas our revenue is down at 180 million, which is, so theirs is nearly over three times what ours is, which goes a long way to show why we can't just go and do whatever we want in the transfer market. Everton similarly with a 96% wages to revenue, so we can't just go and do whatever we want. Wages are a factor. We've got a lot of deadwood. Let's not forget a lot of the players that aren't with us anymore. Sort of Hayden, Hendrick, Gale, Clark, all of these players. They're not gone. We will be subsidising a lot of their wages still, and that is one of the reasons why it's so bloated. Our wage list is quite bloated because we're just having to pay so much scrap for stuff that we're not even using, for players that we're not getting any use out of at the moment.
Yeah, I didn't realise Jeff Hendrick was only on loan. I thought he'd gone permanently, but apparently not.
Well, I think it's the case with a lot of players that have either gone or not gone or loaned. I think there will be a situation where we've still got to pay. It will still reflect negatively on the books, whether we pay them off entirely or whether we will subsidise bits of wages until it's up. It's still going to negatively affect us financially. And then when you look at players like Richie, who aren't really getting any minutes, Fraser not getting any minutes, Darlow not getting any minutes. You've got so many players on the books that are on 30, 40k a week. That we need to get rid of some of these players. We do, and it makes so much sense why they're saying about the summer window is so important. Funnily enough, I think there's a 6-ish players contracts going to expire. So we will have about £200,000 a week more wiggle room in the wage budget come the summer, which explains why they're going to push heavy in the summer. And January they will push, presumably, if they can shift some people.
Yeah. Now, Toon Dave says he wonder if we've been out plane spotting today. No. Listen, I mean, I find it staggering that, aeroplanes land from all over the place at Newcastle Airport every single day, whether it be the transfer window or not. Planes will land at the airport. Now, suddenly a plane, a small jet arrives from Dortmund and all holy hell kicks off saying it's him. Just chill. That's all I can say, because if it is anybody, then I'm sure the club will let us know in time. Just let them do the job. Instead of all this speculation about it could be this guy, could be that guy. Planes land at airports every day from all over the place. So, honestly, it's just laughable sometimes, the stuff that people put out. It really is. Roger says, good afternoon. Darlow, Wood. Well, it looks like Chris Wood's actually going to go, Alex.
Yeah, I mean, that would be absolutely incredible for us. That'd be brilliant. We're looking in at bringing in another attacker or offensive player. Debatable as to exactly what position that's going to be, but his wages are extremely prohibitive. He's on enormous wages for where he is in the squad rankings in terms of being a third choice striker. His wages do not reflect that. His wages are that of a, top striker. Once you start earning over 100k a week, you're looking at going to sort of your Manchester Uniteds, Man Cities, if you want to start earning more than that. So he is literally earning probably the most he's going to be able to get. And he's being paid far above his level, which I don't think is offensive to say. I think it's fair to say that he's getting paid far more than he's sort of contributing to us. And it is really prohibitive because we could.
Do you think Forest will cover all his wages? They might. You never know. Well, yeah, that's
how
what I'm
ludicrous
saying,
they've been with spending.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't think they need. I don't think they need to. I think they could probably negotiate it, but you never know with the way they've acted in the recent transfer windows. Maybe they would cover it all. I mean, I hope so.
Yeah, I mean, with players, obviously with Chris Wood, a lot of people in the chat and speculation on social media is that if we allow Chris Wood to go, then we have a replacement. Would you agree with that? Yeah.
There might not be a position for position direct replacement. It might just be an attacker of some description. It could be a winger, could be a wide forward, could be somebody who can play in multiple positions across the front line. They've got their scouting lists. They've had these drawn up for months and months and months and months and months. They've done agent prep work. They've done player prep. They've done all of this. They will know exactly what direction they're going to go in. And as soon as they can free up a bit of money, if they get a bit of a transfer fee, or if they get if it goes on loan and they get some wage budget wiggle room, yeah, straight away they can go and commit to something that they've got on their little list.
Yeah, absolutely. Ian says, Harry, Paul and Alex just cancelled 2 meetings to watch this. I'm having a shitty day as I couldn't get me and Tommy Liverpool tickets this morning. We were 13,000 plus in the queue. I've seen a lot of stuff on social media about the Liverpool tickets. They've just gone.
Can I just mention this to some viewers as well? Because I think there's a lot of people that might have a misconception about this. I don't think it matters how early you log on to that site, by the way. I think you just get assigned a queue number regardless.
Right.
It's worth double checking that, but I'm 99% sure because I've heard of some people getting up really early to try and get. I don't think that's how it works. I think you just get assigned. I mean, for anybody who knows better, correct me if I'm wrong, but I'd just rather people who are, sincere, nice people not have to sit there for 3 or 4 hours on the bloody website when actually it doesn't make a difference.
Yeah.
So if anybody does,
there's hell on. There's hell on. I mean, look, we all know we could sell St James's Park out twice over. You know what I mean? That, and I think that's why talks have legitimately started regarding expanding St James's Park. Now, how they're going to do that, that's a different kettle of fish. That's up to the guys that are trying to get it done, developers and things like that, because it's very difficult given the situation with the Gallagher and the underground system, and of course the East Stand, where it's just a no-go at the minute because of the listed buildings. So there's a lot of work to be done to try and solve this problem of St. James's Park, because, I mean, who'd have ever thought that, 52,000 in St. James's Park now, and it's too small, Alex. It is literally too small now.
Well, I mean, we've started filling it for pretty much every event.
Yeah.
The crowds for the preseason friendlies, for third round of both the cups. We're just getting ludicrous amounts of people in, and this is not even including some of the women's events that have gone on. It's yeah, I mean, there were plans. What was it? Once upon a time, there were plans to maybe expand us to about 70-odd thousand. 30 years ago, 25, 30 years ago. Yeah. I think we all know we can definitely fill a bigger stadium, that's for sure. How many more is up for debate, but definitely a few more.
Do you know, it's weird because I remember the Gallagher End open. I remember the tiny little Leazes End and the Milburn Stand opposite the East Stand. Just, oh my God. And now it's, I mean, never, when I was a kid growing up, did I think, oh God, this is going to be a 50-odd thousand seater stadium, never mind plus. It is incredible. Rich says, afternoon also on another channel today that we are looking at Sterling. I'm not sure I buy into that. Well, where did you hear that from, Rich? Because I've seen nothing on Raheem Sterling. And again, this is people just making names up. Honestly, I just,
we'd be able to afford his wages.
Exactly, it's his wages that will be the problem.
He's on a rumoured 325,000 a week at Chelsea, and he's got a decent contract there as well. So, very unlikely.
Absolutely. Adam says, surely with some new proper sponsorship deals coming in, our percentage of wages to turnover will also be dramatically improved. Afternoon all. Woods going to Forest is ironic. Can't see the woods for the trees. Yeah, I've seen that a few times kicking about. We'll be happy to see the back of Wood. Also, we'll be happy to see a space in the squad freed up. Speaking of the squad freeing up, Alex, it was mentioned on the fan forum last night that, with John Joe Shelvey's injury, and if there's not much chance of him being back before the end of March, do Newcastle leave him out of the squad and free up another squad place?
Well, I think if we leave him out of the squad, he might as well go this window.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
We might as well try and... It depends on the relationship between the club and the player and everything discussed behind closed doors, because we've seen what they've done with Matty Longstaff. Obviously, his contract is up in the summer. He's got that terrible injury, and the club have announced, look, we're going to help him. Even when his contract's up, we're going to make sure he gets fit again and we get him playing football somewhere in some capacity. So would they, it would be fair to suggest they may do something similar with John Joe Shelvey, that they're not just going to, betray him and just try and just get rid of him. They would try and help him, because he's an important part of the team and the squad. He's been with the club for a long time. So his contract's up. The only way his contract gets extended is if he triggers he gets X amount more appearances to trigger that extension. So if they leave him out of the squad, that's effectively saying, well, you're gone. So leaving him out of the squad, you might as well get rid of him this window. But trying to sell an injured player is also quite tough.
Well, there was interest from Besiktas earlier on in the week, of course. So whether there's anything in that, I obviously don't know. But Marius and Chippers are also saying about Loris Karius. He's obviously signed a deal till the end of the season. And there's an option, obviously. I think they're in discussions for a longer-term deal as well. So they're asking, which goalkeeper do you think will leave? Now, for me, it's Darlow all day long, because it's clear that Eddie wants Dubravka around the squad, even if it's just for the rest of the season.
I'd get rid of both. I'd get rid of Dubravka and Darlow. I think Darlow needs to go now. He's a nice guy. He's a reasonably good keeper, but I think we've outgrown him. And I think it's time he needs to go and play some football. Dubravka, similarly, I do have massive respect for him, but he did want to go elsewhere. He's come back, and it's not that he's not good enough anymore to play the style we want to play. I know he's a great keeper. I think he's a brilliant keeper, but I said this on the show the other day. What have we seen of him recently this year? So pre-season, he was really poor for us. He was really poor for Man United, and he was really poor against Sheffield Wednesday for us a couple of weeks ago. So everything we've seen of him in the last, for the whole season, has been really poor. And he doesn't fit the style, and he's on fat wages as well. So, in my opinion, it's kind of self-explanatory.
Well, maybe he was just petrified of Macalacha
maybe.
Interesting point from Kath regarding the queue, Alex, for when you log on. Kath says, you're right, Alex. I always log in early. My mate from Edinburgh comes along, logs in, and he's 9,000 plus ahead of me. Kind of explains it.
I'm not. I would definitely get it clarified by somebody who knows what they're talking about, but I think it doesn't make a difference.
Yeah, a lot of people saying you just get a random number in the queue.
Yeah, so to the people who log on 2 or 3 hours early, you probably just save your time and have a lay-in or something.
Yeah. Kazine says the earliest you can log in is 9 a.m. and then you get your random queue number at 10. Usually I easily get tickets and I'm 3K or less, but at these key games, the tickets are snapped up by season tickets. Do you think it's fair, Alex, if you have a season ticket, then you're allowed to purchase further tickets before the members or the general public? Because speaking as a season ticket holder, right, I'm paying for my season ticket every month, right? But I've got my ticket. So I think it's a little harsh that season ticket holders can go in and purchase all the tickets before anyone else has an opportunity. I think it's a little bit unfair.
I don't know. It's tough for me to say that because, again, I've never lived in the Northeast personally. I've never had a season ticket. So I think it would be rude of me to show judgment on that. I do think it's a bit of a flawed system, and I think there's arguments for all sides to be frustrated about certain things. It definitely needs looking into. They definitely need to jiggle it about a little bit and make it a bit fairer for all parties.
Yeah, it does need looking at because the away tickets do as well. I mean, the way the points work is absolute madness. You know, you got Bournemouth away, for instance, starting at like 300 points or something, and it just it's a little.
Well, hopefully,
crazy.
with a little bit of expansion in the next few years, increase the capacity a bit, plus jiggling around this system so it's a bit more optimized. Hopefully, everybody will get a fair crack at it, and it shouldn't be too bad.
I mean, for me, if you're logging on, straight away, you deserve to be somewhere near the front. Why would someone that then logs on half an hour later be a lot further up the queue than you? It's wrong.
I've seen a few old timers. No disrespect, old timers, but I've seen a few of them posting pictures of the queues to the ticket office back in the day. And that's a silly comparison because that you could physically just go and camp out and be at the front of the line if you really wanted to. So whereas you can't do that on the online queue if it randomly assigns you a queue number. So
madness. Spacebar says, remember the toilets in the Gallagher end back then, Paul? They were awful. Oh my God. Spacebar, I can still smell them. And I think anybody that was regularly in the Gallagher during those times can probably still smell those outdoor toilets. They were, I mean, horrendous. Just awful. And the smell, my God. V for Vendetta says 2/3 of the window gone. I can't imagine the club being so disorganised as to start scurrying around for new signings now. Looks to me as though nobody of any note will be signed. That's not necessarily true because, they might be doing deals behind the scenes and then not announcing anything at all until, things have been agreed with players. Now, I think they will sign somebody. I think they have to sign at least two, I think, because of the squad depth. We're a couple of injuries away from a major crisis. So I think, Alex, that we will be signing at least two because we have to.
I think my minimum would be one. I think the club's ideal number would be two. I would agree with you, but I'm not sure that we'll definitely get that. It's down to this wage revenue thing. It's down to the wages. We need to move some players out, really. So a lot of that's dependent on if that happens. I truly believe that if in the first week or two of January, if we'd have had decent offers for Wood and Fraser and the other players straight away, and we'd managed to get that ball rolling quickly, then we would have already signed some people. It's just a case of out before in, really. Even then, they might break that rule purely because we need some midfield cover. Like if Bruno's injury was a lot more severe than is thought, if it had been like a 3 to 4 month injury, then I think they'd have just gone and bought a midfielder anyway, regardless of the wage structure. So, but maybe I think at least one, but we'll see if we can get these. If we can get Wood and possibly Fraser out, then I think 2 is definitely a fair shout as well.
Stu talked about last night's game at Crystal Palace. Man United players surround the referee still, and of course, the wonderful free kick that Palace equalised. But do you think Casemiro's was a sending off, Alex? Because I think it was a straight red. That I mean, I laugh at Ten Hag coming out saying, "Oh, he went for the ball." He was nowhere near the ball.
There's definitely a case for it. They're definitely a lot luckier. They seem to think they're very hard done by, and they're not. They're one of the luckiest teams in the league. They get all the decisions. There's a reason why pretty much it's only losses and wins. I think they're the lowest. Got the lowest amount of draws in the league, I think. The Casemiro tackle was strange, and the media bias surrounding it was ludicrous. All of this title race nonsense, and now it's all of the, even Sky's coverage of it was disgusting. What they put on social media, that Palace robbed in capital letters, robbed Manchester United of 3 points.
Oh, that
show some respect, man. Crystal Palace are at home. They're at Selhurst Park,
and they played pretty well.
Played well.
Yeah.
They probably deserved a point. So it's not robbed. That is just rude and disrespectful for a large historical club in this country who played a good game and deserved something from the match. Yeah. It's just because it's Manchester United. They just love them.
Yeah. Ian says, if Wood goes and we can't get a forward replacement, would you bring back Kuol? He won't be coming back, mate. We won't call him back. He's there for the rest of the season. What about Dan Juma? Eddie knows him, says Craig. He's apparently been seen on a play in London, but
there's some reports that his agent has literally been knocking on doors and just trying to, ask all the clubs. I don't know how much truth there is in that, but.
Julie, don't worry about that one because I did ask him myself, so it's not his fault. Just wanted to know which one had said it. There's no point in having 5 keepers to spacebar. Absolutely. Simon says it has to be 5? Darlow. Yeah. Gillespie.
Pope, Gillespie, Darlow, Karius.
And Dubravka.
Oh my God, it is 5.
Yeah.
That's far too many goals. We need to get rid of 2. That's why I said 2. We need to get rid of 2. Getting rid of 1 is not enough.
No. Rabbit Neo says, behind Paul in the 4 photos, who is the photo of in the bottom right? That is Dave Harrison, who used to be on this channel and unfortunately passed away in January last year. He was a big part of this channel and just a wonderful man. So he will always be remembered on here. No problem solved. If we sell ASM, sell Fraser and Murphy and get Diaby, then we have a great attack.
That's fine. Just sell 2 people who play on the left wing and buy a right winger. That won't cause any imbalances in the team at all.
Yeah, and of course Dubravka can't move in this window because he's played for 2 clubs already.
Oh, that's another good point.
So yeah,
that is another good point.
We are stuck with him for at least till the summer. Without a doubt, Nick Pope's a better goalkeeper than Dubravka. Mike says it's hard not to fall into the rumour mill media mania. Most is clickbait, and I'll only get excited once it's officially announced. We must need a central midfielder before we have another injury in there. I totally agree, Mike. And listen, as you well know, being a member of this channel, Mike, we only, we'll have a look at players linked in the media, but we never, ever say that they're going to sign until we hear something from the club. And then we'll talk about it once we hear something from Newcastle themselves. Usually Paul is blocking those bottom photos. Yeah, sometimes I am. It just depends what my camera angle is. But there you go. Isak is going to be a great player. Absolutely. 100%. I think Paul must have lost some weight. I have actually, but we'll not talk about that. Roger says Dubes did do us well years ago. Now he has stood on our toes by choice. Thanks, but no thanks. Alice wants to know how much Isak gets a week.
It's probably around the 100 mark, probably close to our top earner or somewhere around that.
Yeah. Solly doesn't think that the ticket situation is right at all. Tom, good afternoon. Right. Our first player to look at today is Moussa Diaby.
Indeed. So, if we are going to get rid of some forward players, i.e. your Frasers and Woods and different things like that, it's well documented from, high tier journalists such as Keith Downey and Craig Hope that we have been in for a winger for a long time. A winger is something we wanted in the summer and we didn't get it. This is a guy who we've been directly linked with a bunch, and it's come back around again. He has been linked with Arsenal as well, obviously with their whole Mudryk failed signing debacle, and he went to Chelsea. But we'll have a little look. Unfortunately, there's not much recent information because the Bundesliga has been paused for about a decade, and it's so annoying. It's restarting again.
Well, you mentioned that the other day, Alex, and I found out that of course they have a winter break, don't they, in January? So that's why they haven't played since the World Cup.
So I'll show you his fixtures in a bit because he was on a really good goal scoring run of form before the World Cup, and then he's obviously had that giant break. Anyway, so let's recap for those who have forgotten from last time we looked at him. June 2025 is his contract, so he's got a reasonable contract, which is why transfer fee is quite high. As well, his age makes him quite highly sought after, being a 23-year-old. And I think he was 25 goal contributions last year, which is enormous. That's an enormous return. Wages are lovely as well. So I'm sure we could pop him on sort of the equivalent of our same sort of wages, sort of Trippier, maybe our highest earner, and he'd be all right with that. Unless somebody comes along and waves 250k in his face a week, which is possible with the way certain clubs are behaving this window. Clubs like Chelsea, if somebody comes and waves that kind of dough in his face, then we're not going to get him. But if that doesn't happen, then we've definitely got a chance. His wages and the whole thing kind of fits into what we could afford theoretically. So this season, doing very well, 1,200 minutes in the Bundesliga with 9 goal contributions, 6 goals, 3 assists. Slightly outperforming his XG, only by 0.4, not a lot. Underperforming his expected assists as well. 500 minutes in the Champions League with a couple of goals. Arguably should have an assist, but no, obviously somebody couldn't finish their dinner. And if we scroll down to his stats, I think I need to zoom out a tad. There we go. So these are his statistics versus attacking midfielders and wingers. This is based on a lot of minutes. So this is 100% his play style because it's based on over 3,000 minutes. As you can see, he's either not tasked with defensive responsibility or he's just not very good at it. It's one or the other. We'll have to be the judge of that when we see him play a bit more. I'm raring for the Bundesliga to start going again so I can start watching these sorts of players and formulate some better opinions. But he is an elite player at the moment. In terms of progressive passes received, he is the outball more often than not. They will always try and get it to him high up the pitch. And fairly average in some of these statistics. He really is, but he does often find himself the furthest man forward. Obviously, they've got when we look at SofaScore, we can show you, but he does often find his way sort of quite high up in the same way that Almiron over a period of games was generally the highest player forward. He would often be in front of Wilson in the average position as well. So if we do click on forward just to have a little look, that suddenly changes all of these statistics drastically. And you can see on who his comparisons are. You've got Sterling, Salah, Son, Torres, Foden. You've got Rashford on there, Vinicius Jr. So the way he plays and the statistical profile matches some exceptional players. So if we could get somebody who plays in this sort of ilk, it just would be absolutely outrageous. So let's go and have a look at the SofaScore. Apparently his weakness is ground duels, but I don't really... I've not really noticed that as an issue when I've seen him play, but that's why I want to see him play a bit more. So this is his run of goal-scoring form just before they broke up for the World Cup. So it came at a bad time for him, really.
Yeah.
So this is 6th of November, 9th of November, 12th of November, a double, a goal, and a goal. So he was absolutely flying before the break. And then obviously they had the World Cup and stuff. And then there's a huge cluster of friendlies that have been played. So he played, what's the date today? I don't know, a few days ago.
19th of January.
He played. So he scored in this game against Zurich. But if we go back and have a look at his goal scoring run, we can actually see how they were playing when they were in competitive fixtures.
Actually started to win some games, didn't they? Which they needed.
Yeah, we are. So this is against Union Berlin. Obviously, we've looked at this team recently because we were linked with this Piero Hincapie, this player here. But we're not looking at him now. We're looking at the rest of the squad. So in a funny 3-4-2-1 or a 3-4-3, however you want to look at it, Adam Hwozek obviously went to them. Did he go to them in the summer? I think he went in the summer. Important striker for them. But Diaby is the main creative winger. He's very much a playmaker, trickster in this system. So if you have a look at how he did in the game, got an 8.6, which is pretty crazy. You can see from his heat map exactly where he was trying to play. 2 goals from an XG of 1.25, so he did rather well there. 3 shots on target in a game is lovely. Completed a dribble. Passing accuracy, neither here nor there. It just depends on the type of winger you are. Obviously, we know Miggy is very careful with his passing, whereas some players could try to be a bit more aggressive with it. They might lose it a bit more. It is what it is. 4 out of 5 ground duels as well. So, yeah, a lot of the games that I started watching... Oh, we've lost it. Where's it gone? 4 out of 5 ground duels there. So a lot of the games that I've watched with Diaby, I didn't see ground duels as an issue, but SofaScore seems to think he loses a lot. I mean, this kind of supports my theory somewhat. He's not... Maybe he's just growing a bit. I don't know. Can you still grow at 23? 2 tackles. So, yeah, nice against... that was Union Berlin. That was the 5-0, was it? Scroll back out. And then we've got his next game with another goal as well, with a slightly lower rating. It was against Corn. So they played in another 3-4-3. Another player who's gone sort of off the radar as well. Hudson-Odoi's doing really well for Leverkusen. A lot of people seem to forget he's still on Chelsea's books, so he's going to go back in the summer into this crowded dressing room full of... He's going to go back to Chelsea and literally not recognise a soul. It's going to be so funny.
I know. But I don't think he'll stay at Chelsea, to be honest. I think he'll be on his way in the summer.
Well, I don't know. I think Potter might like Hudson-Odoi, but it depends if Potter's still there.
Well, yeah, that's a big if right now. Huge if.
So heat map, you can see he tried to... He got swapped over to the opposite side, so he's versatile. Possibly, I'm not sure if he takes set pieces as well. Another reason why I can't wait for the Bundesliga to restart, so I can see exactly how they utilize him. 1 goal from an XG of pretty much 1. 2 shots on target, again, lovely. Failed in his dribbles, but he's trying lots. Failed in his crosses, but he was trying lots. So, okay, this is again where you can see why he was less... He got given less points statistically. But again, he got the goal. He made himself a nuisance. And you can see what he's about. And then we might as well have a look at that final game that's on that side. If it wants to load. So this was against Stuttgart. Okay. So they played again in their funny 3-4-3. And it was a very changed lineup here. So he was definitely probably the most furthest forward person. Similar heat maps as we normally get.
He got around a bit during that game, didn't he?
He did. There's a little bit of defensive work there, it seems. Out on the left side for certain, whether it was for short corner routines. It looks like the way that these dots are would suggest it might be to do with set pieces and short corner routines. I'm not sure about here, maybe deep. Maybe he's connected to set pieces. I'll have to go and have a look. So he gets a goal in this game as well. Played the 90 minutes. Another 2 shots on target. A bit more successful with his dribbles in this game. Still not as clean again with the passes. So this is something that is quite noticeable, that whenever we look at players like Almiron, they're very, very tidy with their passing accuracy. Diaby's does seem to be less so. But again, play style, attempting a lot of crosses, big chances created. Ground duels is only 2 out of 6 there. So yeah, but I think it's fair to suggest that if you put a player like Trippier with Diaby, I think that would definitely improve his output. because they do play a funny system. And I think having a fullback of Trippier's quality would definitely help Diaby excel, because opponents are going to have to be really careful of either of them. You can't just leave Trippier open. So that means somebody's got to go with Trippier on an overlap or on whatever Trippier's going. You've got to respect Trippier, which would give Diaby some space. It's a similar conversation when we talk about it would be great if Maxi had an attacking fullback behind him as well, because it would give Maxi a bit more space. I think this would be the case, Diaby and Trippier, because I think Diaby's got a few more tricks up his sleeve compared to Miggy. I think Diaby can get past people a bit more. He's a bit more explosive, and he's more consistently clinical as well. He's got a really good goal return, lots of assists, playing Champions League as well. So again, if there's any way we can get this guy, I think we throw the kitchen sink at him.
It's a no-brainer for me. I mean, I'll absolutely
we've got to throw the kitchen sink if we can.
Yeah. A couple of super chats came in there just while Alex was talking. Adam Headley Smith, thank you for your £4.49 super chat. And Trolls, thank you for your 50 Norwegian krona, mate. Very, very kind. And thank you for your continued donations. Smashed into the tunes. The Sky are reporting that Wood is gone to Forest on loan till the end of the season. Samantha says, thank God, Alex, someone thinks the same. They have been very lucky. The luck ran out last night. Augustin says, hello. The last time I called this panel deluded. Apologies for that. My head was just too hot that day. Up the Toon and wished you the best for the rest of the season, except against us. Thank you very much. West Ham going to replace Moyes if they don't beat Everton. Well, I think that could be the final straw for any manager. That could be Frank Lampard if they lose to West Ham. So who knows? Surely if we are letting Wood go, we have a replacement lined up beforehand who is better quality. You would have thought so. Maddison is fit. Rogers says he hopes to have him in for Brighton on Saturday. Kath says, gave up my season ticket May 2019. We were told by staff we would be considered by loyalty. I was a season ticket holder for 20 plus years and had been advised by the trust. Someone changed their mind. Take a look at ticket sites. Wow. Well, yeah. Sky reporting Wood is gone. So it looks like he's gone, Alex. He's gone.
Okay. That's really good. If obviously the wage conversation that we've just had is true, if they're paying all or most of those wages, then that frees us up to go and buy a player of good quality. To go and buy a player that's sort of 80 to 100k a week, would be a huge improvement in the squad. So it depends how the club want to spend the money, though. Maybe they'll go and spend it on a couple of youth players. Dan Ashworth mentioned this in his recent interview about they do want to push in that direction with the sort of similar signings of Qual and adding to the academy. Yeah. Who knows? They might go and buy a young right back and then add to the academy, or you never know.
Adam says, hello, Toon Review family. Very excited to catch a show live. I'm in Massachusetts. Down in No, we'll not go there. I hope we can bring in a 6. Any defensive midfielders available or rumoured to Newcastle. Not at the minute. Apparently, Zanolio is available from Roma for 40 million.
Zanolio?
Yeah. Is that his name?
Zaniolo, yeah.
Or Zaniolo, whatever.
Potentially, yeah, potentially. I don't think it's a good player, but I think we've got some other priorities in terms of play style, position. We looked at him, I think, 2 or 3 transfer shows ago, and he is a good player. But again, as a lot of people are saying in the chat, I think a midfielder is a priority, and I think the club want a wide attacker. So, and Zaniolo, I guess he kind of is a wide attacker. It's in Mourinho's funny shape, Roma, which is incredible. But I don't know, we'll see.
V for Vendetta, what's a contract situation like with Gail, Hendrick, Fraser, etc.? Well, Gail's gone permanently. He's left. Why can't we just come to an agreement with them to mutually terminate the contracts? They can leave,
they want money.
And we can free up room for wages. Exactly.
They want money.
Yeah.
Because we would still have to pay off their contract, which would still affect the current financial situation. So unless unless one of them is willing to just give up their owed wages, which they're well within their rights to demand their own wages. You know, they signed the contracts. It's the club's fault. Well, it's Mike Ashley's fault. It is what it is.
Yeah. Apparently, Susan says it is snowing in Durham. Well, she literally works not even a mile away from me, so I can't see. I've got the lights, the green screen up, blind shut.
It's sunny down south, but it's
well,
cold.
Susan's using the car, and she don't drive even if there's a little bit of ice. So hence that. And she also says, "Good afternoon, everyone. It's blue and sunny in West Yorkshire. Makes a change." Shamrocks is not surprised about the decisions for Man United. Still can't believe the VAR decision on Saturday. It's sickening. Zach says Leverkusen are in for a massive cash grab this summer with several players. They won't sell these guys during a European campaign. I'm not sure how their European
I would agree with that.
now.
But we still look at them when they're linked because that's what we do on transfer shows. But I would agree. I'd be surprised if they would let Diaby go mid-campaign.
Yeah, it'd be a bit strange. Right, who's next up on the hit list? We have Memphis. When I was walking in Memphis.
Yeah, I don't know why on FB Ref. I spend ages typing in Depay and going, where is he? I can never find him. And then I always forget that they just have his first name for some reason. It's very odd. Okay, so this is a funny one. He's somebody that we would potentially do on the free transfer show, but we're doing him again now because he's somebody that his name just keeps coming back and coming back and coming back. And it could be somebody that might want to have another crack at, English football. And could be somebody that would be available for reasonable money. So he's on a reported 200,000 euros a week at Barcelona currently, which is 177k. So could we get this guy? Possibly. If we could give him a decent signing on fee and maybe get him on somewhere between 100 and 140, it wouldn't upset the wage structure. It would be just about possible, I think. But it still would be really, really expensive.
Yeah.
So he is coming up to this 29th birthday in what? Just under a month, he'll be 29. So he's still 28 technically, but very close to 29 years old. So he's kind of at that upper for somebody who's a forward winger type of player. He's probably at the top end age I would take.
Yeah.
Midfielders are a bit different. You can get away taking a 31-year-old midfielder, whereas somebody who needs legs, you got to be careful. But still playing some incredible football when he plays, which is not very often. 114 minutes this season in La Liga with 16 in the Champions League. This guy is a bit peed off and wants to play some football, rightly so. But if we scroll down, so a lot of people before I scroll down, a lot of people aren't keen on Depay because of his time, in England. But if I scroll down, you'll be a bit surprised. He's not bad. He's really not bad.
Well, he's got a point to prove as well, hasn't he? He was quite young when he came to Man United.
Yeah, well, people are basing it on a very long time ago. The same thing we talk about Karius and all these different Zaha. People make judgments on maybe players can change. I said this yesterday.
1 second, Alex. Ian Fleming's just sent a £5 super chat. Thank you for that, Ian. And he says, I'm watching Sky Sports and all it's saying is Forrester in talks with Newcastle, but no deal yet. So conflicting reports again coming in.
It's not just a rumor anymore then. It seems like stuff is definitely happening, which is good. But yeah, this guy's huge fee. Yes. So this guy is very, very, very tidy. Incredible. 89th percentile for dribbles at 2.37. Touches in the attacking penalty area. He's in the 99th percentile, which is brilliant. We want somebody as deadly as this, having nearly 8 touches a game in the opposition box. That's great. He's receiving all the progressive passes. You've got to take some of this with a pinch of salt because this is based on 683 minutes. So it's enough to deduce a bit, but maybe take a little bit of it with a pinch of salt. Shots is very, very healthy at 3.56 per 90. That is awesome. We could do with that and adding a bit of shot volume and a bit of quality within that shot volume as well. So non-penalty XG is really good. So non-penalty expected goals. at 0.41 per 90. In the 91st percentile was really, really good.
Yeah.
What else is he? Fairly tidy at passing as well. Quite tidy. And if we look at his stat matches, Ferran Torres, you've got Mane, Luis Diaz, and Kunku, Foden, all the standard names. So he is up there with the elite lot. And I think people do him a bit dirty with sort of where they rank him in sort of European football. He is a great player.
I think the question is, I mean, he's undoubtedly got talent. There's no doubt about that. It's whether he can do it in England, because we know he had a very, very unsuccessful time at Manchester United. But look, he was 21-year-old, and it's difficult coming into a club like Manchester United at that time, and trying to be a success. Very young kid. However, he's gone on to Lyon, where he did fantastically well in Liga, and Barcelona. Barcelona, he got 12 goals, didn't he? So in his first season there.
From only 20 starts as well. So that's 14 goal contributions from 20 starts is not bad. And then before he went there, 32 goal contributions at Lyon. So 32 goal contributions in 33 starts. Not bad. Helping towards a goal literally every game is incredible. And apart from this season where he was potentially injured, I'm not sure what went on in that season. He's putting up more than 20 goal contributions every season. Even 30 in his final season at Lyon. So the pedigree's there. He's played in multiple different leagues. He's very experienced. He's played a lot of Champions League as well. And Lyon were not a bad side in the Champions League. Lyon annoyed a lot of big teams in the last sort of 5 seasons in the Champions League, and he was a part of that team.
I think Lyon have sort of underachieved in the Liga a few times. When they've had a really good side. But of course, I mean, you're talking about going against PSG all the time. It's not easy. But he is certainly somebody. I mean, if we had the chance of getting him, I'd say yes to him. Definitely. I don't see how anybody could say he wouldn't improve what we have now, because
I think it'd be a summer signing though. Again, just to burst people's bubble, I'd be surprised if we got.
Well, I mean, Barcelona clearly want him out. Clearly don't want him, Alex. So that may be a thing. I mean,
I think it's more of a reflection on us. I'm not saying that it's different to the Diaby situation. The Diaby is different because they don't want to get rid of players mid-campaign with Champions League. Whereas, you're right. Barcelona do want to shift him. He's not playing. I think it'd be more about us. Trying to sign an older player, on huge wages and sorting that out in January just might be a bit complicated. That might be something we might do in the summer. It might be easier for us as a club, especially once we've got all of our sort of players who have expiring contracts. Once we've got them out, it would be much easier to sort of facilitate this kind of deal in the summer.
Rachel's off back to the office, but we'll see her tonight. She'll be modding again on the preview show. I Like Coffee says, just hope Wood scores for Forest when they play Man United. Wood definitely better than Weghorst. Now,
would be
no, Alex, I've heard I heard something yesterday, and I'm not sure how if it is true, but the semi-finals and final apparently change in the Carabao Cup. Now, I'm not sure where I heard that. I might have been dreaming it for all I know. But it's just, I'm not sure. But we'll see anyway. Everton play West Ham this weekend. It'd be interesting, absolutely. Whoever loses that game, do you expect the manager to lose the job, Alex?
I don't know. I would like them to draw. I would like them to have a horrible scoreless draw, and then they both go.
Wow. Okay. Interesting.
Well, it's better for us if these teams, because West Ham and Everton have both got aspirations of trying to push mid-table. Well, I say mid-table. West Ham are in European football right now, but they both want to try and get there, and Aston Villa as well. They're all trying to get to that sort of. They want to be that 6th, 7th, 8th. That's what they're all trying to get to. So.
Well, they're not doing a great job
No.
at the moment. Foxy says Varela has been doing press conferences for Boca versus Racing in Argentine Super Cup, played in the Emirates. Was asked about the rumours to Barca. He said he doesn't think about it, only focused on Boca. David says he has a slight feeling that Trippier is carrying a knock. You know what? I mean, that is a possibility. He hasn't. I mean, look, if he's carrying a knock and still playing as well as he is, that's pretty special, to be honest. But Freshnetta it's gone very stale, that Alex, over the last few days. There doesn't seem to be any impetus to come to Newcastle.
Well, I think his agent's still in London, so what that means, I don't know. I mean, we definitely do there is club business conducted in London. We know our owners are in London a lot, so
yeah.
It doesn't mean that he isn't coming, but it doesn't mean he is either. So we just got to wait and see.
Rabbit Nun says, I would like to see a Toon Review clip show where you clip together all your attempts to pronounce the foreign player names. Yes, that would probably be very funny, actually, but that would take a lot of time and effort to go through all the shows, and it would probably be a 3-hour bloody clip, the amount of names I've got wrong and who I've offended in the past. But, you know, never mind. Mike says, was Kraft ruled out for the season? No, it was a bad injury. Yeah, pretty much.
I think May is his estimated return date, which is literally the end of the season. So he might come back and make 1 or 2 appearances off the bench at the end of the season. Maybe we might see him once or twice, and that's it.
Such a shame, because he was having an exceptional turnaround under Eddie, and you know there wouldn't be such a clamour for a understudy right back if Emil Kraft was still fit. You know, and he can sometimes take cover for centre back as well.
There is a player whose name is somehow eluding everybody when we're talking about getting rid of players. If we're so intent on buying a right back as cover, why don't we just get rid of Manquillo? If he's obviously not trusted, if we're looking at right backs so aggressively and young right backs as understudies to Trippier,
which is very strange, because when Javier's come in, he's done all right this season. You know what I mean?
But if he's not the preferred option, we should just get rid. Simple as.
Indeed. Lawrence says we should go for Thuram, in my opinion.
Which one? The midfielder or the attacker?
Well, I mean,
2.
Why not go for both of them?
Well,
yeah. Steve says, actually thought the Palace player was lucky not to be sent off elbowing Martinez.
It's hard because Martinez is about 4'3".
Yeah,
so you move your arm slightly and he's on the floor.
Yeah, that's like me going for a header with Martinez. I'm bound to catch him somewhere, but mine would probably be deliberate.
It's not like a Kai Havertz one where the elbow upwards like that.
Well, I'd make sure that the actual point of my elbow was aimed at his jaw. But that's just because I hate Man United. Lawrence says, I'm sure Depay's going to Atletico. Yeah, that's been talked about, but it hasn't been done yet. Simon says he's signed for Atletico, 4-year deal. I'm not sure it's confirmed yet, but a lot of people are saying he's going to Atletico. So there you go.
Really?
Yeah. Richard says he's just seen Diaby and Greg's in Prudder. Interesting. Yeah, I think he has. There's a lot of comments saying he's gone to. He's going to Atletico, which is strange. Barcelona doing deals with Atletico again. I find that really absurd.
Oh, this happened yesterday after I'd already written for this show. That's annoying.
Well,
literally. Go. This is why I need to check up before we go live again on everybody I've got prepped. 22 hours ago, 7 hours ago, 15 hours ago, €3 million deal. That's a bit cheap. Considering some of the loan fees we get quoted, like 7, 8, 9 million to loan players, €3 million seems a bit cheap.
Well, Soli says, Alex, you've had a Castore, pal. Well, he doesn't have many, does he?
Well, I'm not going to get up at 3 o'clock in the morning and double check everybody that I've got prepped for shows in the next couple of days. It's soon when we have the big TTR headquarters, I can spend more time double checking everything.
Yes, when we have a big building with TTR on the front, we have a security guard and things like that, and the company itself is flying high. One day, guys. I Like Coffee says, don't forget to sip some warm tea, coffee, or cocoa in the snowy weather with the Toon Review mugs. By the way, it has gone absolutely freezing cold here in the studio, so I'm taking it that the temperature outside has rapidly dropped, and the white stuff has fallen because I've got goosebumps on I'm sitting in a pair of shorts and t-shirt, but it literally is like the studio's next door to the house. So I mean, Alex, you were here last week. It's bloody cold in here at the minute. Never mind.
Got to get one of those little mini heaters.
I know. Stu says, considering the absolute mess the club was in under Fat Mike, we had to offer mediocre players ridiculous contracts. This makes it very difficult to move them on. Thanks again, Mike. Yeah, some of them are on extortionate I mean, Jacob Murphy's for one is mental.
2027.
Yeah. Christmas says, if Wood has gone, I wonder if that means we've won the race for the Dortmund Wonder Kid. I'd take that any day of the week, to be honest. Steve Cooper's got a press conference soon. So is it to announce Chris Wood? Possibly. 2.6 million fee for Depay. Wow, that's nout, is it really? Paul Haddon says we should get Conor Gallagher. He's young and experienced. Eddie would get him playing like when he was at Palace. I think he'd thrive under Eddie Howe. I really do. I think Eddie Howe would certainly give him the confidence to get back to something like that. But as I said yesterday in my video, he came out in the press yesterday morning and said that he wants to stay at Chelsea. Why? I don't know. But obviously, he's maybe his Graham Potter's told him he's part of the plans. Good afternoon to Paul Gallant. Hope you're well, buddy. David says, I hope we get the Wonder Kid. He will light up the Premiership and terrify our beloved Scummy Six. Romano is expecting an announcement on Trossard to Arsenal very, very soon.
That's kind of good, though. I mean, this is it's not always a negative. This is not highlighting. This is kind of showing the way for us and who's still available and who's not. Because if Depay is no longer an option and Trossard is no longer an option, we've got a better idea of who we're possibly going for now because there's two players crossed off the list.
Indeed. Craig says it's nearly 2 a.m. in Australia and it's raining at 20 degrees. Well, thanks very much. Ian says he's just seen Chris Wood in the job centre. Rich says eventually someone won't be a summer signing. It seems we say that about everyone. That's a good point. Magpie Crypto's just seen Chris Wood at Hooters in Nottingham. Wow. Okay. Shamrock says, Paul, glad to hear your teeth being fixed hasn't affected your singing. Well, it hasn't. Of course, it hasn't. My dulcet tones will never be taken away from you guys. Absolutely not. Andrew says, could Paqueta be an option if if Moyes goes and we don't get Maddison?
Be expensive. I think he might even be more expensive now.
Yeah.
Because he had his wages shot up. And West Ham wouldn't want to be taking a loss on him. Unless they have an absolute howler and get relegated. That'd be great for us. To be fair, the vultures would be circling on that club, though. If they accidentally got relegated, there'd be so many players would get picked off.
I mean,
there's a lot of talent in the squad.
Yeah. Darren says rumours Paqueta is unhappy at West Ham and it was a mistake to join them. Well, anyone could have told him that, but he hasn't exactly set the world on fire since signing for them, to be honest.
Because his personal reference point is his best mate's success at our club with Bruno. Yeah. So he's probably trying hard not to constantly compare the two journeys. And I don't blame him for being a bit unhappy with how his has gone so far, considering how talented he is as well.
Exactly. Apparently, Todd Cantwell's gone to Rangers, Alex, from Norwich, which is interesting.
He fell off a cliff. He did. Very strange.
I think he's had a lot of personal problems. I was reading about that in the summer, but it's affected him. He's made some mistakes and things like that. I think it's on BT. Sorry, it's on Sky. I think on Saturday, Geordie. Is it Saturday night? Saturday night football on Sky? Because I think BT have the lunchtime game, don't they? So, but yeah, don't take that as gospel, mate. Bob says, Alex, have you checked how Ross Barkley has done since we were linked to him? Did we dodge a bullet?
He went to a funny French team, didn't he? Who was it?
Nice.
Was it Nice? Yeah,
was it Nice?
I think it's Nice. I think they adopted all the rejects from the Premier League. Essentially, I think they've got Aaron Ramsey as well.
Yeah.
I'm not sure how he's done. I'm not going to tinker about with it now because my screen is still lagging. So When my laptop decides to stop lagging when we're doing live shows, I will be able to look at a lot more.
Guys, we're going to have to do something. We need your support to get Alex a new laptop, man, because it's going badly wrong. I mean, I didn't know whether to start a GoFundMe page for Alex's laptop because we need something because, this man has about 25 tabs open on his laptop.
Well, I've got one at the moment because it can't handle it anymore.
And his laptop just can't handle it. It's screaming at him now every show, and he's desperately needing a good laptop. If there's any guys out there who, have a laptop shop and would like some sponsorship and some sort of deal, give us a shout. But we desperately need to sort Alex out because he's the man with the stats.
On a phone.
Yeah, and we just, I mean, my God, it's getting worse every time now. His computer's just like dying, guys. It's a MacBook Pro from probably when is it 2013 old. Or something.
Something like that.
It just can't handle it. Anyway, I think we've got one more player today, Alex.
Yeah. I can't remember if we've done this guy before. I don't think so. He's been on my list to do for like the last week.
Can I just say, I bet his nickname is Deutsche.
Why?
Dolce Gusto. I'm telling you.
Well, Malo Gusto, strange name for a Frenchman because he was born in Lyon as well. Plays for Lyon, born in Lyon. But yeah, he is French. So it sounds a lot more Spanish, the name. Wages are ludicrously low. What is it in our money? Like £6,000, £6,794 a week. So very low. Expires in June 2024. So he's got 18. Can I count? 18 months. Is that 18? That's 18 months, right? That is 18 months. So we'd have to pay a little bit, a reasonable amount to get rid of to actually get him. Yeah. Because he is highly rated. He is 19 years old. So he is a right back, a full back. He's got nearly 1,300 minutes in League 1. And like I said, he is he's been linked via many different sources. I think some papers, some online forums, some online like websites, in the nose. There's a bunch of people linked this guy with us. So I don't know how much truth there is in it. But it's worth just having a little look anyway. So we're not going to go into too much detail on him. We're just going to have a vague look. So statistically, really, really nice. It is based on a lot of minutes as well. So I have to scroll down so you guys can see that. 2,561 minutes his stats are based on. So we got a good chunk there. So for a fullback, absolutely incredible stats here. Completing a dribble for a fullback's brilliant. Receiving passes quite high up the pitch quite frequently. He's attempting a phenomenal amount of passes. So maybe there could be a little bit of truth in this because this is essentially a guy who's a right back who's touching the ball all the time and is in charge of a lot of passing. I mean, do we know a right back that does that? Well, yeah, it's Trippier. So a young right back that is quite competent on the ball would be of use to us, definitely. Because that was a bit of an issue when we had to keep using Kraft last season was, although Kraft was doing very well, he's a very different player to Trippier. So, again, shot creating actions is really, really nice and high at 2.74 per 90. Getting him with assists as well at 0.21 with assists per 90. So it's really, really good. Really, 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 really good. Interceptions and blocks are nice and tidy. If we go and have a look at his stat matches as well, you've got Luke Shaw. I know a lot of people don't like Luke Shaw, but statistically, he profiles very well. Alphonso Davies is incredible. He's an absolute worldie. You got Dani Carvajal on there from Real Madrid. Juan Cuadrado, who actually plays really well as a fullback. So some good comparisons here. Great stat profile over a huge sort of load of minutes. I really like him, but I'm not sure how much there is in it. I think I might wait and see. Before we have a proper dig and we start looking at his team and going into depth. I'll wait and see if there are any stronger links because I've not really seen him linked by real journalists.
He looks at talent. That's one thing. I mean, his stats there prove it. Really, he does look at talent. Spike says, "Is it your laptop or your broadband?" It's definitely his laptop, Spike. 100%. It is not anything to do with the broadband. Daniil says the statistician needs good IT gear. James says you need a real computer, not a crap book. Excuse
Yeah,
me.
I know.
I've got a MacBook Pro, and mine is absolutely fantastic. It does everything I throw at it.
I would like a normal desktop instead of a laptop. I don't know why I got a laptop. I don't need what I should. I should have just bought a normal computer.
Well, see, I need one because I do uploads when I get to the car after the games and stuff like that. The new MacBook Airs are super fast. Yeah, Magpie. I was looking at getting one of them actually, and if I did, I could then send this one down to Alex. But they're quite a bit pricey for a MacBook Air. I mean, you're talking £1,300. Johnny Boy says, "Is it the laptop or just too long a dramatic pause?" Laptops are never as powerful as a real computer, says James.
Yeah.
He says, "I've worked in IT and fixing computers for over 20 years, so obviously he knows what he's talking about." But yeah, I mean, if you have a specific setup, then a desktop is quite perfect, really, because you don't have to hump it around and stuff like that. So yeah, it's probably a better option to have a good, powerful. Have you got no mates that could build you one, Alex? I mean, there's some tech heads out there who can build a laptop in like a couple of
I've got
hours.
a few friends that build gaming PCs and stuff, but
yeah, interesting.
It's just expensive.
Yes, Jock, you did give £2 yesterday to the computer fund for Alex. You did, yes.
Thank you.
Rich says, "I know it's in context, but imagine getting a £6K a week deal. Imagine getting £6K a week, ludicrously low in terms of professional football."
I'd take half.
I know, yeah. I did not mention an operating system, Windows. I recommended a real computer. Indeed. Try upgrading your RAM. It will improve the speed of your laptop. Thank me later.
Can I even do that on an old MacBook?
I don't know.
I'm not sure. I'm not very knowledgeable about that.
Don't think Stato said NUFC are going to get him. They're just discussing linked players. Yeah, we're not saying we're going to get any player. Those of you that watch these transfer shows regularly will know that. We just look at the media links and then we look at the players and see what they might bring to Newcastle United if they ever did sign. We never sit here and say, "Oh, they're coming to Newcastle." The only time we do that is when Newcastle United tell us they are, and then we'll talk about it. My mate's Amanda Staveley's gardener. He's in the Gnomes. Oh, dear me. Mike, thank you very much. $2 New Zealand to go towards Stato's new gear. Have you used a new Apple with ARM? Oh, Jesus Christ, they're talking about tech stuff now. I mean, Rian, how are the lads from Saudi? Thank you, Rian, and I hope everything's okay out there in Saudi Arabia. I'll be looking for your car during home games then. Cheers, Paul. Yes, I do sit in the car park after the games, uploading stuff, and it's I record on my phone and then I put it on my laptop and try and upload it as quick as I can when I get back to the car when I'm waiting for the traffic to clear, or when Michael's waiting for the traffic to clear. So for the price of a MacBook, build your own, says Mark. Well, yeah, if you know how to build one. It's not as simple as just, hang on, I'll buy all the parts and I'll build a laptop or build a computer and you don't know how. Solo says, "I can donate my old 2018 MacBook Pro to Alex in a week when I reset it for a couple of Newcastle tickets." Dear. James says, "If the laptop could handle several tabs fine before, but cannot do it now, then it is an issue that is easily solved without buying anything."
It's not like it's just suddenly done it. It's been slowly getting worse and worse and worse over the last sort of 18 months. It's just struggling even with updates.
Yeah.
It hasn't just suddenly done it. It's been,
it's been steadily dying. Yeah. Magpie says replacing HDD for SSD. Now I do know SSD is a lot quicker. Indeed it is, but there you go. I like coffee. It's simple. Well, it might be simple. Lego is harder than building a... Well, okay. Did anyone get off the plane? Who the hell knows? Who knows?
Would be fun if it was Makoko, though.
Yeah. Fez says you'd be better off building a custom PC. To be fair, you're not using it for heavy gaming. You could easily get it for under £600. Yeah, but it's still £600.
£600 that I do not have, unfortunately.
C Bubble, thank you very much for your £1.79 super chat. Keep up the great work. Thank you very much. Craig says, have you defragged? Have you tried defragging your hard drive, Alex?
I don't know what that means.
Well,
I don't have grenades.
Yeah, no, Alex. It's nothing to do with grenades. Just have a look on you on YouTube. Dear me. It's about time, says Alex. Keep off the hub. It slows your computer right down. Trust me. Yeah, obviously being bitten. Right, that is it for the transfer show today, guys. Thank you very much for joining us. Of course, we are back at 8 p.m. tonight with the Crystal Palace Newcastle United preview show, and of course. Any news that breaks between now and then, obviously we'll bring it to you right here. See if the Chris Wood transfer is taking any hold or anything like that. But we'll see. So join us tonight, 8 o'clock. Don't be late, guys. It is going to be a very good show with me, Alex and Billy tonight. We'll be discussing what sort of team could Eddie put out against Palace, of course, score predictions, and as I say, any breaking news from the club. But thank you for watching this afternoon. Over 900 at one stage. Brilliant. If you can hit that like button before you leave, please, we'd really, really appreciate that. And of course, if you're new to the channel and like what you see, hit the subscribe button. Free to do so. And also that notification bell, which will let you know when we go live, upload a video or schedule a show. Thank you to all the super chatters, new members, etc. Thank you, Mod Squad. Brilliant again. Alex, thanks for your company, but mainly to you guys out there for watching. But we will be back at 8 o'clock tonight, guys. So enjoy the rest of your day, and we'll see you tonight. Take care.